Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals. This is some more Heart of the Swarm beta action, and well, let me introduce these two players today. In the lower right position, the Red Terran, who is a barcode. I have literally no idea at all who it is. The opponent is gonna be the Blue Zerg in the top left. It's Dignitas' JonnyREcco. That means it's gonna be a ZvT. And the reason I'm casting this, I do try to avoid games, I must say, which have a barcode player, because it's like, who is the barcode player? That's the problem. It's just no idea, and it makes it a bit awkward. So from now on they will be referred to as the Red Terran. But the reason I cast this one is just because when I was at this replay, it's what it was called. Just made me laugh out loud. It was just titled Widow Mines Are Good Units. And so, with the second you see a title like that, you just know that combined with a game which I will reveal is over 30 minutes long, that it's gonna be a really funny game with lots of interesting stuff happening. So, I'm not quite sure. I have no clue, honestly, who wins. I have no clue how the game's gonna go, other than Widow Mines, I'm guessing, are gonna make a show. If they don't, then I'm gonna go to Advertising Standards Agency and be like, this game, you told me that this was all about the Widow Mines, and then there was no Widow Mines. But for the time being, it looks like our barcode buddy here is going to be getting up a 1 rack into a gas. So that's just going to be a slightly more aggressive opening. Some tech. We could be seeing something like a Reaper out. We could be seeing a quick factory. All of which are quite viable and relatively good builds. Meanwhile, Rico, 15 hatch. Because why wouldn't you go 15 hatch? It's Achelon Wastes. It's a big, big map. Macro games are definitely, well, favoured for this. And just to go through the expansion pattern, some people might think, well, you were going to take this base as your third because you can knock the rock tower down, but wrong. That is not what you're going to do because of this. And this may not look like very much, but it's actually super awkward because it means that actually if units come down in here, it can be difficult to hold it off. So, your third base is actually going to be this one. And the reason for that is then you can defend this area, which is quite nice and wide open, so quite good actually for Zerg, very comfortably. And then it means you've also got a relatively quick fourth base. And the same runs true for Terran. Although some Terran players do like actually taking this base because they can still position siege tanks up here and cover both entrances. So basically, both players can take 4 bases relatively quickly. The Reaper, as expected, is on its way out, so that's going to be jetpacking its way across the map, and that's all hunky-dory. Meanwhile, Rico, 1 pull, 1 gas. It's really the staple of how you are going to play early game ZvT, pretty much without fail. There's no reason why you wouldn't go for this 15 hatch, 16 pull, and 16 gas. It's just what you'll always do. The gas may not have been at 16, it may have been slightly later, but generally speaking, it's the good early game. The Reaper going to come in. The Queen's only just started, so that just means the Rico is going to have to micro his a little hard out, but here we go. The Reaper can just keep going back. Good little bit of micro trick there. Getting an extract down with the drone that's about to die. Building a spine crawl as well, because you don't want to lose the drones ultimately, then they're just free. The Reaper taking a lot of damage, but with combat drugs, we'll be able to heal up. We see it's going to start going. There we are. Healing up exceptionally quickly. It just says life quickly, and I can't remember the exact figure of how quickly it does regenerate, but it is like ridiculously quick. I think it's it's around 2 health a second, so definitely very, very viable. Once Queens come out, Reapers are shut down very hard, just due to the range on a Queen. It's really good. A Reaper can't hit hard enough to really take it out. But behind this, we see that the barcode is getting down a command center, also getting up the factory. No second gas, instead a third command center very, very early on. That's just going to allow for a good macro game. This reactor and the factory, it could be for Hellions. I'm guessing it's going to be for Widow Mines after the title of the game. But it's just good news. It's really looking to be a solid match at the moment. Quite a few Zerglings out at the moment with 6 on the field. Maybe going to try and punish this. And you may be thinking, Johnny, why are you doing that? It's not standard to go for that aggression with Zerglings. But the reason being is because you know that there was the Reaper, you know that there was this gas, which means that this command center was slightly later, less likely to be a bunker up, and less likely as well to be any units out, and we're seeing that. No defensive units at all. Not a single Marine, not a single Hellion, or a single Reaper, and as such, an SCV or 2 could go down, may force a lift on this orbital command, which would just delay mining from here, would delay a mule, would delay the SCV, and it's just frustrating more than anything else. But with the Hellions coming out, we will see the Rico Zerglings will be forced back. Speed is now finished, managing to trap a single Hellion there. That was a very good play, managing to get the surround there, and this is all looking very good. Another SCV going to get taken out as well. And this is just some early game aggression. 2 workers killed. Not a huge amount, but enough to make it worthwhile. The Hellion also takes quite a bit of damage. Good micro potential from those Lings, and the Hellion does get away as the second two come out. Meanwhile, Stim is getting started back at the Zerg's base. We've got the Roach Roaring coming out. We've got a good number of Queens. We've got 3 out, so Creep Spread will all be coming. You can now build Creep Tumors on ramps, which is something you can't do in Wings of Liberty. The third base also on its way down, and now we see Widow Mines are in production. So, Hellions, Widow Mines, factory play, mech is really strong, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the late game plan of our Terran buddy, because double engineering bay. So that means much more likely to be quite infantry heavy, getting the 1-1 upgrades out ASAP, and these speedlings just on a mass patrol command in order to make sure that, hey, if they're on patrol command, nothing's going to get through. Hellions will get trapped. It's just a nice little touch you can make. Meanwhile, these Hellions coming down towards the third base, which currently doesn't have any drones mining from it, doesn't have anything going on. A few Roaches just in production. So perhaps some Speedling Roach pressure is on the cards. Could just be for being defensive, because there are some more drones following this up. No lair timing out as of yet. The 1-1 upgrades are on the way, as we see here for the Terran. And additional barracks now getting added on into this composition, so that is very nice to see. It's going to be a nice little timing push you can go for there, and as such, with the double upgrades, it's really quite potent. The watchtower being held by these Hellions. Of course, in some versions of Aquilon Waste, these actually disable after, I believe it's the 9-minute mark, so that is just why, because you can see exactly what's coming very easily, and because the watchtower's on the high ground, you can't clear them out too quickly. But here we go, the Widow Mine is a burrowing, and well, we're going to see one Roach take some damage and he gets killed off. Where are the other Widow Mines? I know there was another one around somewhere. Where are you hiding, Mr. Widow Mine? Ah, down by the fourth base. That is where you go. Now we see the Roaches coming forward, though. They're going to try and get a couple of kills. And while there are some Hellions out, Hellions are not good against Roaches, as we are now seeing. Even Hellbats aren't that good against Roaches, but no armor yet. That's still in production, so quite a few SCVs likely to get killed here, but the Marauder coming to save the day and is going to be able to help. It's still 7 SCV kills. That takes the count at 62 for the Zerg to just 42 of the Terran. The bunker now being placed. The fourth base is still protected by that Widow Mine, which could potentially get a lot of speedling kills. Oh dear, that could be bad times. But 1-1 upgrades are on their way. Lair on its way down. This is shaping up to be more mid-game. We've got more Widow Mines coming out. So this is sort of a Marine Marauder composition with some Widow Mines added in for good measure. And that makes things pretty darn cool. We see that upgrades, production through the roof for our Terran. We've got Combat Shield coming down. 1-1 has now just completed, as we're seeing there. That gives a Terran player a good upgrade advantage should they want to move out. But for the time being, not enough units down with only 3 Marines, 2 Marauders to make a push. Instead, just starting off with +2 infantry weapons, probably +2 infantry armor will come down shortly as well, which will be going into the mid-game. Meanwhile, we see this Widow Mine gets taken out while it's trying to burrow up. The rock's still not been taken down yet, and this Widow Mine still hasn't done anything, but it's about to get a kill on a drone. Bye-bye, Mr. Drone. Bye-bye. Boom. That was a bit overkill, but it's definitely dead now, and that means that an Overseer will have to come over. We see 2 are morphing in. Rico responding to this appropriately. Meanwhile, look at this. 4 Widow Mines positioned around there. Where even are... This is like called Hunt the Widow Mine, and where it becomes stupidly helpful having this button where you can just click on everything and it takes you straight to it. So you see that this natural ramp is very well defended at the moment, and if Rico carelessly runs his units up, he could take an awful lot of damage there very quickly. But we've got 2-2 coming out, 1-1 nearly completed for Rico. He's also getting Baneling speed out, so that's looking fairly solid. Road speed coming down as well. And now the Spire. And Spire, Muters, very, very strong in Heart of the Swarm due to their increased health regeneration, 1 health per second, which means even if they have only 1 health, they are back to full in just under 2 minutes. And that means that as long as you don't lose a Mutalisk, you can get a very high number of flocks of them and just start running in, dealing the damage, poking back out, and it takes a lot for a Terran player to actually stop that. So it's a good strategy. We can see that both players very equal on supply in terms of the working count, 74 to 63, but the 4th base is now on its way out. So is the 5th base. Double expanding is a good move to make when you know that your opponent has got their 3rd up. You want to do as much as you can, but what is this? Marine Marauder drop incoming. It is going to, I do believe, come straight past that base. We'll see it, so that is probably going to be forced to cancel. Meanwhile, a second drop on the other side, but the Zergling does indeed spot it. So that means that actually it is not going to go unbeknown. The other watchtower being held as well. Good map vision at the time being. You see, JonnyREcco's just map vision is huge. He can see pretty much everything now, which is really good. Some speedlings coming down and a couple of banelings ready to defend this. Another baneling's going to be able to connect, or will there be a quick pickup? Well, the Zerglings are blocking the way, but in come the banelings. But most of those units were grabbed before the connection hit. But still, we see more Widow Mines coming out, and this is actually a lot of Widow Mines. 10 on the field. Rico running in, well, not Rico, sorry, Barcode running in with that drop, but we see good number of roaches and zerglings there. The drop coming up towards the natural base, some units getting pulled back, and unfortunately the drop at the third is getting picked off, and this means that good drop defense, good solid play all round. The medevac gets taken out at the natural, but the one at the third, just the one on the third is now still very happy coming in and out. We've got one down at the fifth base as well, a drop coming into the main, and this is just multi-prong harassment, stressing a Zerg player, multitasking to the maximum. The Mutalisks, though, will spell the end to it. The aggression is going to be no more. This bottom base, though, is unfortunately going to go down. That is very problematic because it means that actually Rico only on 4 bases to the 3 of the Terran. But it shows the advantage of double expanding, because even though Johnny's lost this base, he does still have another one, and it's still a base up. We see the Drilling Claws upgrade getting researched at the moment. That means the Widow Mines burrow so much quicker. I can't remember the exact figure, I should check this probably. 3 times faster. And that just means that you can run them in, burrow them straight away. The Widow Mines, oh dear, the Widow Mines, burrow the Widow Mines, burrow, and here we go. We're going to see a lot of damage done now. Are you ready for this? Oh, so many units going down. All the banelings get cancelled, more Widow Mines around everywhere. That was a lot of damage done. We can see the resources lost are very equal. Just about 60 resources difference between them, so incredibly close. 3-3 infantry upgrades coming out for the Terran player. Meanwhile, we do have +2, I believe +2 carapace is already done. There we go. So 2-2 melee upgrades, more banelings coming out. Mutaling Bling is becoming more popular for Zergs against Terran at the moment. For our Barcode Terran, though, he's not got a sign of building his 4th command center yet, at least as far as I have seen, so hopefully that'll come up soon. And literally, as I say that, there we go, it's coming down, so that is good news. The Mutas are cleaning out some additional damage. The Widow Mines have to be very, very well placed, though, because Mutas clump up an awful lot, and the splash damage from those Widow Mines will start dealing huge amounts of damage. Of course, with only 120 health, that could be really bad, but here we go, everything clumps up, and so many banelings went down there to the Widow Mines. The Widow Mines also got taken out, though, because vision was granted from those Overseers, and now it looks like JonnyREcco doing pretty well. The supply is still very equal. There is some more Widow Mines coming in, though, some more Marines, some more Marauders. A drop hitting at both the 5th base and the 4th base. The 4th base drop getting cleaned up now. Did a nice little bit of damage, though. 11 workers have been killed by the Terran. This drop at the 5th is trying to take down the hatchery. Is it going to be able to? It looks like yes, it does. So that is quite problematic in itself, because now Rico, he's down to, well, he's still at 86 workers to be fair, but he just can't seem to secure this base, which is rather frustrating for him. The creep spread, great though. For the Barcode Terran, he has got his 4th command center nearly complete, so that'll float down up to there. The creep spread should have receded now as well, but in come the Mutas. They need to be a little bit careful, burrowing straight away with those Widow Mines, and still more in production. 3 at a time. We do have 6 on the field, so those Widow Mines have a lot of splash potential, can deal a lot of damage, and mean that these Overseers are absolutely integral to the Zerg composition. So more burrowing is going down. Those Mutalisks do need to be very careful. I believe that many Widow Mines will just one-shot with the splash damage all the surrounding Mutas if they do clump up, as they're doing there, and that is what's really dangerous. Magic boxing, meanwhile, drops coming down at the 4th base. Here we see Zerglings running in, the Widow Mines trying to reburrow up, and we can see a lot of damage done here, and there we go. There's some hits coming down. The Banelings are able to get some good connections, though. The Mutalisks cleaning up the medevacs back at the 4th base, though. We see a lot of damage being done. Quite a few drones are getting taken out. This push has got cleaned up, though. JonnyREcco pulling back those Zerglings in order to deal with the drop tech, and this is just Relentless dropping from our Barcode Terran here, doing as much damage as possible. We see already 27 workers have been killed. The Rico's still just underneath the 80 drone mark, but look at this, the hatchery goes down. That has knocked Rico back down to just 3 mining bases, the same as the Terran player, who is nearly mined out at the main, but then Rico, he's also nearly mined out. A drop now coming down at the 5th base, does get pushed back though for the time being. The Widow Mines doing some nice damage, though. The Mutalisk coming in from the side. The Marine count is not that high, and the Mutalisk numbers getting indeed very high, as we can see, already up to 18 with 5 more in production. Quite a few Marines are on their way over. The Widow Mines gonna burrow. That will force Rico back for the time being, and as we see, some good damage being done here, and a good amount of damage done to the Mutas, but they heal up so quickly that can be awkward. But still, Rico, he's pushing forward. The Barcode Terran looks to be on the run. His supply is starting to dwindle, and with that, it looks like Rico is gonna be the aggressor. He's pushing forward. He wants to stop this before too much else happens. The Widow Mines doing some nice damage. A connection goes down on some of those speedlings, but the Mutas Mutas do manage to get away, and this is still looking very close to 4th base. Getting ready to land, hasn't landed quite yet, but once it does, I'm sure the damage will, or I'm sure the income will skyrocket. We can see the worker count still up at 66, probably going to become a planetary fortress, but no, actually an orbital command just morphing it down there, so that just means it's slightly more vulnerable, but no sign of... Well, the 4th and 5th base are about to be back up and running now for Recco, so his economy starting to look better. He's got adrenal glands coming out, as well as +3 melee attack. No +3 melee armor, though, so that's something that he definitely wants to get out soon. The Banelings rolling in, the Zerglings coming for the flank. They want to get this around. They are pushing very far forward. If they stop these Marines and the Marauders, the Banelings will be able to clean out the rest. We see that the Mutalisks are coming straight towards those medevacs, but the Widow Mines, oh my goodness, the Widow Mines, they're so close to... Oh dear, that could have gone a lot better for the Terran player, not quite connecting. There was a good spread, a drop coming down towards the 4th base though, and this is just Relentless dropping. This is absolutely crazy, but Ultralisks are on their way. So once the Ultras start coming out, that gets shut down hard. The medevac does go out, and Mutas are great, and JonnyREcco's control with them is really, really nice at the moment. Not losing many to Widow Mines at all. 16 Mutas are on the field, so they are dwindling in number, but mainly able to keep them up. The Speedlings do have to be careful though, due to these Widow Mines. You want to split them as much as possible to try and soak up as much damage, because otherwise the splash will one-shot. But still more Widow Mines are up, and there we go with some big hits from those Widow Mines, and now pushing forward even more. We have got the Mutalisks trying to chase down the medevacs. The infantry desperately trying to stem back. Reinforcements joining, that will put an end to it, but we do still have these Widow Mines in a very nice placement. That could catch some of these Mutas off guard if they aren't exceptionally cautious. They are spreading out, just trying to make sure that they won't take too much damage, but the cooldown about to come down. This, oh my goodness, here comes some hits. A couple more Mutas die, and this is painful to watch for any Zergs watching, and well, as we can see, 5 more Ultras coming down. We've already got 4 on the field. That really strengthens the composition. A scan goes off though, sees the Mutas are there, and it turns the Terran back, because you don't want to really try and push into that when your Marauder count isn't too high. There's only 11 on the field, but the 3-3 upgrades are done for the Terran, but only 3-2 for the Zerg player, +3 infantry weapons coming down. No Shadiness plating though researched yet, so that just means those Ultras aren't quite as tanky as maybe Recco would like. Hopefully we'll start it soon, but Adrenal Glands is done. That means the Speedlings are going to be doing an incredible amount of damage very quickly. The Mutas even up there with +2 weapons, no armor upgrades. The medevac does manage to boost away slightly quicker than Mutalisk, but of course that doesn't last for too long. Does now get taken out. The drop has been relieved, but a double drop coming down at the bottom of the map. This could potentially deal quite a lot of damage. One poor Marauder trying to do a bit more. This base looking to be slightly vulnerable, but 2 spine crawlers are there. That should buy some time in order to get stuff back, but where is the drop going to go? Is it going to go here, or try and jump straight up towards the 3rd? The 3rd does have the greater spire morphing, but the Overlord will see all, and that means the Recco has time to pull back, has time to try and defend this. There's also some spine crawlers there just to try and buy a bit of time, but a double drop is pretty large. Where are the Mutalisks? That is what I'm looking for, because those Mutas could take it down, but it looks like the drop is going to come straight up towards the natural base going down. A drop probably going to go towards the main as well, but the Mutas are now here. The medevac probably going to take quite a lot of damage. The Overseer is there in case Widow Mines were included in there. One medevac goes down, the second medevac goes down. That drop was cleaned up very easily. Meanwhile though, a triple, or a push at least, a triple drop could be preparing, but the center of the map is just covered in Widow Mines at the moment. This is a hard-fought match. This is super exciting. I'm loving this. And still, the drops continue. This drop play is just pretty bonkers. There is so many drops going on, but the Mutalisk doing a good job at the moment cleaning up. Oh, a bit of miscontrol there. We see that the Marines do manage to get a couple of kills, but the Ultras, the Banelings, are coming forward. There aren't any Infestors in this composition though, so no fungal growths to lock that infantry down, allowing the Banelings to connect easily. The Greater Spire though, just about to complete. The second Spire for the double air upgrades will be done shortly. Broodlords are going to be hitting the field. Another drop is coming down though. 2 spine crawlers are helping to deal with it, but the action is in the middle of the map. The Widow Mines able to deal a nice amount of damage, but the Ultras do survive quite comfortably. A lot of the Banelings taken out though. There's only 6 remaining, and still the Ultras push forward. There is no tanks on the field. It's purely Marine Marauder Widow Mine, and that means that these Ultras are able to do a nice bit of damage, but this drop is dealing an awful lot of pain. You can see 29 drones have been killed. Meanwhile, we've got another drop on its way through, down towards the bottom of the map coming in. Is it going to go to the third? Is it going to try and snipe off that Greater Spire? Either way, there are some Spine Caller defenses and a Queen there, so that Queen should ideally be able to help the drop towards the fourth. Did manage to pick off the hatchery, so that's good news, but a sixth hatchery coming down now. A big push coming up here though, but will get cut off by those Speedlings and the Ultralisk. Meanwhile, the drop down at the fifth base is doing some nice damage, but this is where the real action is. The Ultras desperately trying to catch up. They just want to give some deadly hugs. But the Banelings, they are rolling along as well. This command center is going to get taken out exceptionally quickly, cancelled and lifted, but unfortunately already on fire, so some workers will have to get over there to repair it up, and the Widow Mines are burrowing. Some hits do go off. Ultras can tank up those hits quite well, but the Marine Marauder count is very high with the 3-3 upgrades, a lot of damage being done, and the Ultras still do not have the Ultralisk armor upgrade, which means they are only 3-3, not 3-5. So, as we can see, this game is still looking pretty close. Both players' supply very equal. And what's this, a push coming up? This top base could potentially go down. Are the units going to be able to get in time? The Zerglings going to the flank, preventing the retreat, trying to let the Ultras close down the distance, get the engagement. A couple of Banelings I see rolling in there, and this could be really big. Getting behind the middle line as best they can. Good stutter step micro, but now in come the Mutas, in come the Ultras. The infantry is just getting om-nom-nommed all its way through, but the Overseer is getting taken down now. But with the Ultras still up, with the Mutas still there, the Medevacs are going to get taken out, and that means that this will get cleaned up. Meanwhile though, we see that the Terran player pushing from the other side of the map as well, moving forward just towards that fifth base, and this is very tense indeed. So, as we can see, neither player wants to admit defeat. At the moment, it is still everyone's game. JonnyREcco getting slightly behind in terms of supply, not producing at the moment, but now there comes 26 Speedlings. His mineral income is a bit low. A drop trying to come down in towards the main, but the medevac is unfortunately empty. But the big concern is that the Terran player does still have this top right base. That means the Terran is comfortably sitting on those 5 bases, only 3 of which are mining, I do believe. Actually, only 2 mining bases. JonnyREcco though, he's mined out at his third. His 4th and 5th and 6th are still mining, but this is where the battleground's going to be. They are very close together. The Widow Mines coming forward yet again. More Zerglings are coming down, and well, the Ultras trying to get in, but here comes some good connections. A lot of the Speedlings get taken out. The Mutalisks also getting sniped off there, but Zerg units streaming across the map. We can see the Terran is spread quite thin. The Planetary Fortress aiding with a lot of damage. Speedlings trying to come in from the side, trying to prevent the retreat, allowing the Ultras to close up the distance, but the Ultralisk getting taken down as well. The barcode Terran dealing very well with all of this, but his supply is dwindling slowly, and as that supply comes down, JonnyREcco is able to remax slightly quicker for the time being. The Widow Mines trying to do as much as they can, getting another good shot off, dealing a lot of damage to those Speedlings. And well, as we see, we've got more units coming across. We have got a Terran player just managing to hold at the moment with this Marine Marauder medevac composition. The Widow Mines thrown in for good measure. A drop coming down now, but it is getting cleaned up by these few Zerglings, giving time for the Spine Callers and the Spore Callers to burrow in order to try and clean out the rest. Only 2 Marines remaining. Meanwhile, JonnyREcco, he's remaxing. He's getting a lot of Speedlings, a lot of Ultras. He needs to knock out this base as fast as he can, but units are coming across. The Widow Mine's going to try and burrow in a good position. The Overseers are there though, and will the burrow go down in time? It looks like yes, it will. The hits do go up. A lot of Speedlings get taken out there, but the retreat is getting cut off by the remaining Lings. The drop was taken out. We've got more units coming down. We've got the Marine Marauder force not switching it up at all. 5 Widow Mines in production at a time. So these Widow Mines have been integral to this Terran player's style, and now we see some changelings just soaking up the damage. Speedlings trying to come forward. They don't want to engage by the planetary though, because that is extra damage. The Widow Mine not burrowed there. That could be a little bit problematic, and we see JonnyREcco taking the supply lead now. He's got 5 more Ultras coming in behind this, and well, as the Speedlings push forward, as they try and deal with more damage, the Widow Mines do burrow. They retreat as quickly as possible. The splash would just be too much for the time being. No drops have gone off in the last few minutes, so that is something that seems to be going in Rico's favour. He has now taken about a 20 supply lead, morphing in some more Banelings, but the Widow Mines, they are the problem. The splash they deal to those Speedlings is just massive. It knocks them out. It's like a burrowed Baneling, and that damage just means that Rico is unable to just punch through an attack. He's got to be ever so careful. Use those Overseers, try and tackle some of the damage, but here come the Speedlings. They need to soak up as many Widow Mine hits as they can, but the Ultras streaming in from behind. The Banelings going in to the SCV line. Big hits going off there, but the infantry does still remain. No Overseer, obviously no Infestors still for the fungal growth, but the infantry getting trapped somewhat into a corner. The Planetary Fortress doing some nice damage with the splash from the Ultras, knocking off a lot of those SCVs, but is the Planetary Fortress going to be able to survive? It looks like no, it will not. That is a mining base that the Terran player desperately needed. Rico falling back now. The drops are queuing up yet again, though. We see that this medevac coming forward. The spine crawlers are all around. There are some speedlings there as well, which will help, but JonnyREcco's 6th base is about to take quite a bit of damage, and it is very low on health already. The Ultras just there in time to defend it. The speedlings coming forward as well. The Widow Mines already burrowed in preparation, trying to bait the Zerg back into those to take some splash, but as we see, the drop has been cleaned up. We've got more spore crawlers coming down to provide more drop defense. The worker count 74 to 44, a good 30 worker advantage for our Zerg. Vipers even coming into this composition. Blinding Cloud definitely going to be effective against the Marine Marauder force, because that will knock down their ability to counterfire against the Ultras, and they've either then got to retreat, which gives Recco time to position his army to try and stop it, but alternatively it also means that if it tries to engage, then, well, Blinding Cloud will prevent range. I'm not actually sure. This is actually a genuine question I don't know the answer to, and I really should, is do Widow Mines get affected by Blinding Cloud? I'm not sure. If you know the answer, let me know in the comments, because that is something that I really definitely should know. Definitely. And I'm going to look it up afterwards anyway. But still, back to this game. We see that the Ultras are moving forward. The speedlings coming up. The Widow Mine trying to burrow desperately. It's going to get a good shot off on those Zerglings. So many go down there. Meanwhile, though, we've got the infantry pushing forward up towards Recco's 5th base, but a good number of Ultras there. But, oh my, Widow Mines. There are so many there. And, well, those speedlings and careless could do some damage. How many Widow Mines does it take to kill an Ultralisk? The apparent answer is about 5. So, still we see some good damage being done. Push, trying to come down to this bottom left base. This hatchery is only just surviving, like one volley off of those Marauders and it will be dead. 95 health, but JonnyREcco pushing in from the top of the map. He is going to try and take out this base yet again. The Widow Mines have all expended their uses. Just so many Ultras there for the time being. Recco with great income as well. He's sitting at 2,000 bank minerals, 2,000 bank gas, so he can remax quite easily. He's just got to spend the lava. Loses the hatchery in the bottom position, but does still have the top hatchery. Nearly mined out at his 5th. The Viper's consuming in order to get more energy. Those Blinding Clouds could make the difference, but Recco, he does now have a good 50 supply lead. This bottom base has been completely demolished by the small infantry force. More speedlings could be trying to come in, could just go and regroup. What is Recco going to do? Is he going to try and push forward? Is he going to try and take more bases? He's denied this top base. He's building a hatchery there as well. So that means that this base is a little safer. But the drop play has been taken out. These two medevacs just looking at the army. Meanwhile, the Ultra trying to push forward, trying to do more. Where are the Vipers? They are somewhere around here. Those Blinding Clouds could be so helpful. Some Queens even coming into the mix here, just to transfuse onto the Ultralisk to give them more space. But the Widow Mine count is very low. Only 3 there. I think JonnyREcco could be able to do it. The Terran is down to just 84 supply. His income is absolutely minuscule. That means that no resupplies are available. This is the final hold. If he can do it, he may buy himself some time. But there we see the Blinding Clouds allowing the Ultras to close up some of the difference. So many medevacs, but unfortunately the infantry is all but evaporated, and it looks like Recco now, with the Terran player down to just 50 supply, will take this incredibly close, incredibly action-packed game. Very close indeed. And well, there's the Blinding Clouds. The Ultras are nomming their way through. The Terran player with just 23 minerals and no income after those speedlings have cleaned up pretty much all the workers. Only 2 harvesters remain, and I'm expecting a GG any second, because there is next to nothing that this Terran player can do now at 39 supply to 172, waiting for just the last push. In come the Ultras. The Vipers just flying around there. They've got no energy, so they are very unhelpful. But, of course, the speedlings will be able to put an end to this. The medevac count is still up 11. There's more medevacs than there are units to heal, and that is quite unfortunate in unto itself. The missile charge getting taken out now, and there is the GG from the barcode. And indeed, that was a very good game. I hope each and every one of you enjoyed that. If you did, like the video, leave a cool comment, and of course subscribe, and I hope to see each and every one of you tomorrow for yet another new cast. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.